my channel. It is your girl Courtney Lauren. For those of you who are returning, again, welcome back. And for those of you who are new, welcome. Nice to see you. Go ahead and click that bell so you can get the notifications when I make a post, and make sure you are subscribed as well. Today I'm going to be making for you guys one of my favorite wintertime recipes. This is going to be a chicken corn chowder. So if you guys want to learn how to make that, continue watching and let's get started. Alrighty guys, let's get started. So my ingredients I'm going to be using today, I have some low sodium chicken broth, I have some minced garlic, I have some better than bouillon chicken. This is a half of a medium onion chopped up. This is a half of a red bell pepper chopped. I'm also going to be using 3 small Yukon Gold potatoes, peeled and diced. I have some white all-purpose flour, about a cup and a half of frozen corn, and here I have about a half of a rotisserie chicken. I just went ahead and shredded up some of the white and some of the dark meat because I like the dark and the white. It gives it a really good flavor. And then I'm also going to be using, for some seasonings, some crushed red pepper. I have some bay leaves, some smoked paprika, and some garlic powder. And then also some pepper and some salt as well. And then for our dairy today, we're going to be doing some half and half and some butter. So I'm going to be using my Dutch oven today. I decided we're going to call her Lady. So we're going to be using Lady today. So first we're going to start by putting 2 tablespoons of our butter right into that pot. You guys can use any pot at all that you have. It doesn't have to be a Dutch oven. You can use a regular stock pot, whatever kind of pot. My stove right now is on about a 4.5, 5. We'll melt that butter down, and then we're going to add in our onions. We're also going to add in our bell peppers. And then we're just going to saute this just for a couple of seconds. And then our next step, we're going to measure out a half of a teaspoon of our crushed red pepper flakes. You guys do not have to add this into your soup. I like mine to have a little bit of a kick to it. That is my preference. You guys can completely omit this spice if you want to, but if you want it to have a little bit of a kick like I do, go ahead and add some chili flakes. You also don't have to add a full half a teaspoon. You can do a little less too. So next I'm going to be measuring out some garlic. I'm going to be using 2 teaspoons of our minced garlic. We're just going to pop that right into our pot, and then we're going to saute this down with our peppers and onions as well. We're going to saute this for probably about 4 minutes or so, just so our onions become a little bit translucent and the bell peppers start to get a tiny bit tender before we move on to our next step. So it's been about 4 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and grab my all-purpose flour, and I am adding about 3.5 spoonfuls right into the pot. So after we add in all our flour, I'm just going to go ahead and grab my spoon, and I'm going to mix this around for about 2 minutes so that all my flour gets nice and evenly incorporated with the vegetables. And then we are going to measure out 6 cups of our chicken broth. Normally I do not cook with low sodium chicken broth. I couldn't find regular chicken broth. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to adjust my salt when we start seasoning up our broth later. So like I said, just measure out 6 cups of our chicken broth, and then we're going to stir this around to make sure all of our flour is evenly blended out. You don't want any clumps or any flour stuck to the bottom of your pot. After that, after our flour is nice and evenly blended, we're going to add in 2 bay leaves. We're going to also add in our potatoes, and then we're going to give that a stir. And then after we stir that around, we are going to measure out 1 teaspoon of our better than bouillon chicken flavor. And we're going to add that right into our pot as well. And then next, I like to start seasoning up our broth. So we're going to grab that smoked paprika, and we're going to put in 1/2 of a teaspoon of that. We're also going to put in some shakes of our garlic powder, and then we're going to give that a stir. After I stir this around for a couple of minutes, I'm going to add in some black pepper. We're going to be using 1/2 of a teaspoon of our black pepper, and then I'm also going to measure out 1 full teaspoon of my salt. If you guys are using regular chicken broth that is not low sodium, use 1/2 of a teaspoon instead of 1 whole teaspoon. So I'm going to go ahead and mix this around, and we're going to wait for our broth to come to a boil. Once our broth comes to a boil, we're going to cover it, and we're going to want to cook this for 10 to 15 minutes until our potatoes become tender. But halfway through our cook time, so about 6 or 7 minutes or so, you're going to want to lift the lid, stir it to make sure you're not losing too much of the broth and it's not boiling too much. So you see me here just giving it a quick stir. I'm going to go ahead and cover that lid and cook it for the rest of our time. And it's been about 15 minutes. Our potatoes are nice and tender, so now we're going to move on to the next step. We're going to grab our corn, we're going to put that right into our pot. And then after we add our corn, we're also going to get our chicken, and we're going to add that right in as well. And we're going to grab our spoon, and we're just going to mix that all around. Make sure all the chicken is nice and sopped up with our broth. And then we're going to want to grab that half and half, and we're going to use 1.5 cups of our half and half. We're going to pour that right into our broth as well. And then go ahead and grab your spoon and give this a nice mix. Try and get all the half and half nice and evenly blended with your broth. And we are going to want to bring this to a boil as well. So right now my stove is on medium low. I'm going to cover it, and I'm going to crank it up a little bit to about a medium, and we're going to cook it for another 10 minutes until our soup is boiling, because that's going to help thicken it up. And it's been 10 minutes. I went ahead and lifted that lid. As you can see, the soup is nice and silky looking. I'm telling you guys, this is one of my favorite meals, and on this particular day it was snowing, so I'm like, it's a snow day, I'm home with my kids and my husband, let me make a nice quick soup that we can all enjoy. And it turned out really, really good. If you guys give this a try, let me know down in the comments. Here you see me taking out those bay leaves, and this is the finished product, you guys. This is my chicken and corn chowder. And if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye.